Guardian MX. Now, this one's exciting to me because if we go back to their video, their lovely silhouette video that we all looked at least a half dozen times in the last 6 months, one of these silhouettes really got me. Really freaking got me. This one. I thought this looked like the Guardian, but it looked like if the manufacturer of, like, whoever makes Slave One in Star Wars, it looks like if they had made the Guardian. And it got me real excited for like a hulking, four-pronged, almost like Drake Interstellar looking beast of a ship. And now it's releasing. So we get to see, does it actually look this cool? Or did the silhouette just make it look cool? So I give you, my friends, the Guardian MX. Oh man, it's like art repeating itself. I love, in my headcanon, I love to think that whoever was writing this scene, did Tony write the whole thing for Andor? I don't know, but I love to think whoever was writing that scene in Andor was playing Star Citizen around the release of hover mode, which I know everybody's going to come out and say, oh, you didn't have to fly like that during hover mode, skill issue. But the simple fact of the matter is, like, this happened to people during hover mode, and that's exactly what I thought of when I saw this scene. It's like, great reference. Great reference. If you guys didn't catch it over the years, the folks building Star Citizen very much are aware of what Star Wars is and quite like referencing it. Just like the most ridiculous eye makeup too. Is that what Cassian was wearing?
The Guardian MX is the big brother of the Guardian. It is fully geared up to fight and is now equipped with 4 size 4 weapon instead of the 2 size 5.
I need to see them more close together. I definitely get the vibe that the Guardian MX is different. Like the shape of its actual, I don't know what to call these besides prongs. Sorry if that's weird, but I'm just going to keep calling them prongs. The shape of the prongs are different. I just want to see them more closely together so I can get an idea of how different.
And is now equipped with 4 size 4 weapon instead of the 2 size 5 on the base Guardian.
Okay, I like that. I like 4 size 4s more.
The rise manufacturers always try.
It might not be as powerful, but I like the experience of repeaters firing constantly. Makes me feel like I'm doing more work, you know?
Push performance. In this case, this version of the Guardian is much more.
There we go. See,
key core goal.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. So it's bigger, right? Am I getting that wrong? It looks bigger. I love, yeah, no, I it's definitely got that hulking feel to it. I couldn't tell you it looks quite as like industrial focused as this looks. This looks super just clunky, but it's certainly, yeah, it's a Mirai Chonkian. He did say it's a big brother, you're right. I like it.
Of a heavy fighter.
You're right, it is closer.
It's got like bigger wings, it's got missiles, it's got more power, no more armor. It's just like meaner looking.
Also a ton of missiles. This is 3 times 4, 12, 24 missiles up here.
Missiles, it's got more power, no more armor. It's just like meaner looking.
It's for people who just wants to kill.
Ah, yeah, see.
Pretty much.
Once you see the MX,
see, dude, this is not what I have pictured. When looking at this, it's crazy how like the ship can look so much different with the silhouette because you can't see the lines of it. But this is basically the reversed shape, and now I feel like even the shape of the ship changed a little bit. Like, doesn't this look really curved over here? Sorry, let me show you. Doesn't this look like really curved up here? And then over here, it still looks pretty straight like the other Guardian. I don't know if the shape of it changed from this to this, but it definitely gives a different look, in my opinion.
Pretty much.
once you see the MX, you'll notice that the guns are now tucked in the wings. It sits while landed more angular The wings are much more bigger than the base Guardian. The material breakup is also different. The paneling is like bigger, it's more industrial looking because it's more heavily armored. So there's 24 new missiles, 12 on each wings. And just the experience of launching those missiles at an angle, pretty cool.
Target destroyed.
So the cockpit view is one of the things we've worked the most on the MX.
The look of the dashboard is also completely different and looks
It definitely seems like these are faced more downward when landed. Cool ship. I really would have loved for this to be a competitor to the Hawk, I think. And I only say that because I wouldn't think of them making a ship that competes with the Hawk. The only reason I think of it is because they have the Hawk. Otherwise, it seems like making a bounty hunter ship with that format is kind of a dumb decision. Kind of like the Caterpillar, you know? It's like one of those ships where they were like, this is a cool concept, let's make this. And now that it's in game, they're like, okay, now we gotta figure out how to make this work. But this seems like it would be a really good bounty hunting ship. But you have nowhere to store people if you do bounty hunting. Like if you just throw them in the hallway behind you.
Worked the most on the MX.
the look of the dashboard is also completely different and looks sleeker to tie it better with the new HUD design. The UX team did a phenomenal job. We recognize that like the dashboard being at the top of the canopy was blocking that valuable space that the player need and want while dogfighting. So we decided to move the dashboard down to each side of the seat.
So it's interesting to see that instead of fixing the ship that was a problem for, they just released a new ship that fixes the problem and then straight up told us, hey, this is a problem on the other ship. We're just going to fix it on this one.
Blocking that valuable space that the player need and want while dogfighting. So we decided to move the dashboard down to each side of the seat, freeing up the top.
From the Q&A, the other Guardian variants will get the new dashboard someday. Okay, that's good to know. Probably should have done that now.
It gives that feeling of like operating this massive gun turret with all 4 guns sitting at the tip of the wings.
Target destroyed.
So the MX has a new blast shield, which looks like really cool. It got camera and screens on the inside, so the player can see the outside even when it's closed.
It's going to give you a little bit more protectability
Should just build a sim pod into the ship.
to make you feel a little bit nicer when you're in that exposed glass cockpit. Compared to the base Guardian, which has more luxuries, has more creature comforts, this one kind of forgoes that.
We completely
Ooh.
removed the habitat to make room for a bunch more components.
Whoa.
So it now includes 1 size 2 power plant.
Actually, that's a big trade-off. To be honest, I think that takes away a lot of what makes the Guardian useful. Having that habitation made it a really good long-term, long-distance companion, but this looks more like it's meant for shorter trips.
Instead of the 2 size 1 and 1
We'll see how the
additional
quantum drive
size
is.
2 shield generator.
Like fuel
Like
tank.
the other Mirai ships, how it feels when you pilot it is really quite unique. I'm not that concerned about having a bed and having all the creature comforts and all those things on my ship, especially a ship like this. So the fact that we sacrifice those elements to then reinforce the core capabilities of the vehicle, that's what I find the most exciting with it.
So even though it is a variant of the Guardian, so much has changed on it that it feels like a completely new ship.
Which is what they're doing these days. I think they've really understood that they can make a lot more money from making slight variations of chassis than making modules for ships or, even making entirely different types of ships. And like, part of me is okay with it. Part of me is also worried about how that affects their ability to keep up with ships. I think a really convincing move to build confidence in this whole practice that they're doing with building these sort of slight variants. One would have been if the Prospector got updated when the Fortune did. 2 would have been if the MFDs on the other Guardians got updated when this is released. But we see that like these ships are getting refinements that aren't really going to the variants. So what does that mean for the future of maintaining the ships? Does it mean you're going to have to go through each one and update it as a separate pass? Because I'm hoping if the point of variants is that you have less work in updating all of the ships. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I think people will love it. I think it's gonna compete with the best heavy armor there is.
Paired with the speed and agility, the ship feels like a menace. If the MX is telling you, then you're probably already dead.
That's a very hype-focused statement. I don't know. I feel like I came out of this less excited for the ship than going into it. And that's not because of the ship itself. I think it's just the combination of different iffy bits of it, especially because it's another missile-focused combat ship, kind of like the Saber Firebird was. This I don't want to say this could have been an update to the original Guardian because it's obviously a different chassis. It doesn't feel necessary. That's for sure. I freaking love the design of it. God, I love the design of it. It's a very cool ship, and I would probably get one in-game if it had a bed. I would not buy one of these. In fact, let's jump over to the store page real quick and see. All right, so they've got all the info's up. We can also check out the Q&A. Deadly, resilient, explosive, expensive. Oh my god. Well, yeah, I would definitely get this in game. It's a beautiful ship. This is a replacement for a ship that they released last year though. And I think that's weird, kind of. What is this? What is Guardian MX 10 year? Why is that different? Oh, no, this is lifetime insurance. What is 10 year? Why is it? What? I don't understand. What's the difference? Is this for this is War Bond? Oh, okay. What's the price not War Bond then? Oh, this is the only credit purchasable model. Okay, I see. I thought there were because it says 10 years, I thought it was like some special thing for 10 years. Yeah, store credit, that makes sense. Dude, these are just, man. So this is considered, from their own video, this is considered as a upgrade to the Guardian. They fixed the MFDs. I guess they side graded the weapons and they added the missiles. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have like the numbers and statistics to compare this to the other Guardians, but it's so close to the other ones, you know? It's almost like if the Zeus MR had come out, but it was also just like a different type of cargo hauler. I'd be like, well, why wasn't the Zeus CL just kind of made to fit that as well? I don't know, man. I love the Star Wars reference, obviously. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but oh boy, am I an Andor fan. I'm a big Star Wars fan, I think. I think Andor like made me a Star Wars fan. I love the reference. I love the styling. I love the design. I love the callbacks. I just don't feel like it's necessary to release a heavily combat-focused heavy fighter on a chassis of a combat-focused fighter that's 12 months old and had problems that already needed to be fixed. But 'tis the year of ship sales and content and stability. Either way, oh, I guess let's check out the Q&A real quick and see if there's anything important mentioned there. Mirai MX Q&A. How does the additional weaponry and armor affect its range and handling? The Guardian MX's critical and part HP values are noticeably increased compared to the baseline variants. Okay. Support its more deadly firepower and expanded combat role. That said, the same fuel tanks as the standard model, so due to its increased mass, it will burn fuel, especially during atmospheric flight. For quantum travel, range remains the same since fuel capacity is unchanged. How does that make sense? I mean, I guess quantum fuel range isn't tied directly to the bed. The bed seems like what designates a ship as being long range or short range. But But that's not even true because you can just log off at other locations anyways. I don't know. It's hard to talk about that because they've just thrown a whole wrench into how logging is supposed to work in this game. But I would think that if you didn't have a bed, then you would make the assumption people were traveling less and thus cut your quantum fuel tank range to make space for something else. But they kept all of the same fuel tank ranges in as what I would perceive to be as the longer range Guardians, which is interesting. Does the additional weaponry affect the footprint? The MX has become thicker on the wings, which gives the ship a larger footprint. You'll have to try it for yourself to see if what the ship fits in. Will it receive upgraded components? The power plant has been upgraded to support to a single size 2 to support the additional weaponry. It's also received a second size 2 shield generator and an extra size 1 cooler. This will increase the signature compared to the base Guardian. Big question here is, will that signature increase? Will the fuel burn rates, will the decreased maneuverability, will all of these things be enough to counteract all that weaponry? Hard to know until engineering comes in. But for the people who are like very worried about engineering ruining their solo player experience, their single seat fighter experience, this is exactly the kind of ship not to get. This is going to be a ship that's certainly trying to balance power output across its different systems a lot. While the Guardian has forward-facing missile launchers, the MX seems to have missile launchers mounted on the top. Does that change anything in terms of gameplay? It can hold more than a standard rack, which means the missile type is swappable. Under what circumstances would one choose the Guardian MX over the base model? And when might the base variant be more suitable? The MX is a dedicated combat ship with upgraded components. To fit all those components, the habitation area is sacrificed. Therefore, you should choose the base Guardian if you want to be able to live in your Guardian due to its bed, bathroom, and food processor. I freaking hate this, dude. I hate that the bed is still such a negotiation tactic on picking your ships when they said last year that we would be able to log out anywhere. Okay, now that I've calmed down, it's totally fine because they're probably going to add buffs to beds that make them still worth picking one ship over another, right? I'm just overreacting, I hope. It annoys me that the bed is still considered this whole, oh, you should get this ship over that. You should spend money on this ship instead of that ship because this ship has a bed. But we don't even know what beds are going to do. Because they made one statement about it and then said nothing. Ah! That annoys me, dude. That's something that just sticks with me. And I know people are probably watching this and thinking, oh, Space Tomato, you've gotten so negative. But like, dude, I don't know what else to feel about that statement. That was like such a big part of the game. It's such a big part, at least, that I was interested in. And it's just so weird how it keeps popping up in these places where people are making money decisions based on these things. And it's so unclear what that means. How does its performance compare to other manufacturers' heavy fighters, such as the Hurricane or the Lightning? They say the MX variant is designed to strike a balance between durability and firepower while still maintaining the Mirai handling signature that sets it apart. Even though it is bigger, it still has these gigantic omnidirectional thrusters on the back. That'll be great for moving around and probably allow you to hover in atmosphere better. With durability and firepower being the main focus, it's not the most agile heavy fighter out there. For example, the Hurricane outperforms the MX in raw agility, performing higher linear Gs and superior maneuverability. On the other hand, when compared to heavier ships like the F-8C Lightning, the MX holds an edge in maneuverability, acceleration, and top speed, though it does not match the F-8C's toughness and durability. Just a lot of balancing to do. Like, this is what I think about when I'm looking at like the way that they want to adjust all the different components of ships. It's like they got their hands full. In the base variant of the Guardian MX, the bed functions as an escape pod. With the living area removed in the MX, does this mean it no longer includes an escape pod? This is correct. Without the bed, there is no dedicated escape pod. In case of emergency, the pilot must leave through one of the exits. That sucks. How does deploying the cockpit armor affect pilot visibility? There's extra framing around the cockpit, but it shouldn't have a large impact. Another note on visibility, we have redesigned the ship's cockpit layout by bringing the MFDs and buttons from the top to the bottom. This changes the visibility for the better. We plan to retroactively bring this redesigned cockpit to the base and QI variants in the future. I'm glad that they're going to bring it back to the other ships. I wish they had done it now, though. Will the deployed cockpit armor affect the defense during combat? Even without Maelstrom, the cockpit armor will provide extra health to the cockpit before it can be destroyed, but it won't help against shot that hit the wings or body. Huh. Have they mentioned damage specifically to the cockpit before? To be quite honest, I think I was not alone in assuming that these little window cover-ups that they've been doing on ships like the Carrack, the Cutter, the Guardian, a couple other ships that do this. I really wasn't thinking it was actually going to add to the health of the parts. But now I'm wondering, is there going to be a cockpit failure state for the ship where you can your ship is okay but your cockpit is breached, kind of like an Elite? That'd be cool. Probably just up the HP of the cockpit section and that's it. True, but the HP for these sections is going to be based on their physical properties when the Maelstrom system kicks in, so it'd be interesting to know how that actually affects your ability to survive. It was mentioned offhandedly when they said the armor cover enhanced HP of the cockpit. Interesting. Yeah, it's a really cool effect in Elite. So that's it for the Q&A here. And really, that's a whole look at the Guardian MX, big brother to the older Guardian, coming in, kind of trampling on the Guardian space. I don't know. I'm not big enough, I think, in ship analysis or ship combat to really judge whether or not this is the kind of variant that's needed, considering we already have the Guardian and the Guardian QI. But as long as they can find a specific place for this to fit and they can support it, then okay. But those are ifs. Either way, hope you got some info from this and some entertainment. Thanks for checking it out.